Okay, good evening, Hatfield. Welcome to the July 24th, 2024 meeting of the Hatfield Select Board, a rare Wednesday night meeting, a rare 6 p.m. meeting. We have a fairly quick agenda, I hope. So I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order, and as usual, I'm going to open with our public participation policy. The Hatfield Select Board welcomes everyone to its meetings and all other public meetings of the town of Hatfield. All regular and special meetings of the boards and committees of the town of Hatfield shall be open to the public and shall conform to the open meeting law. Executive sessions are closed to the public and will be held only as prescribed by the statutes of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It is important to recognize that the open meeting law affords the opportunity to listen to the proceedings, but not necessarily participate. During meetings of the Select Board, an attempt will be made to find a balance between hearing from members of the community and conducting the required business of the Hatfield Select Board. So the first item tonight, as always, is public forum. Are you here for public forum? Come on up to the microphone. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Exhibit A?
Yeah, Exhibit A.
Okay.
I gave you color pictures. I did the color pictures.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, this is, yeah, so we'll.
Yes, but, you know,
Right, it is public. Dave, do you have an extra copy?
no. Well, I have one for myself. But.
Okay. So.
Basically, is what happened was, so at 100 Prospect Street was my dad's land, of course, but it's mine and my stepmom's. Basically, it was going to be transferred, to us.
Is that the
where the barn is?
Yeah, okay.
So, and as you read it there, basically, they went and they put this Title V septic system in next door. And when they were in the process of doing it, I'll just do a quick thing. I went over, Richie Thayer Excavating was working on it, doing it. And I just mentioned to him, I say, you're pretty close to the boundary lines. And he's like, well, no, I'm okay. So I just walked away at that point and left. So in the meantime, this is went on. I went to the Board of Health, spoke with them. There's some information here. Everything's in there basically,
Okay.
but it's like I said, you can
It's a
read
lot
and
to look
see.
at, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And so I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
So did it ultimately encroach
Yes. Oh yeah.
on your property?
Yes. Per the guidelines of the Mass CMR, it's supposed to be 5 feet away at the slope of the Title V structure. And if it's not, basically, let's see, the second page. No, there's a letter. Yours could be on the back here. I met with Mr. Osley and Konecki. And in his thing here, basically, he stated that ideally the property should have been surveyed prior to, number one, not knowing exactly where the line is between the owner of the property, between the engineer and the excavator. Somebody should have, it states in the bylaw or in the CMR thing from the Board of Health or from the state of Massachusetts that if it's within 5 feet, it should have been surveyed. I guess if you got a 20-acre lot and you're putting it in the middle of the field, then I guess maybe I wouldn't say no. But when you got 2-acre lots sitting side by side and nobody's sure where the boundary line is, there should be something in our bylaws for the town of Hatfield that says you must get it surveyed, because otherwise you're running into what I got here. And
But would the bylaws require, I mean, isn't it, there's not
Per the
a,
permit.
there's not a state requirement?
yes, the state
I mean,
requirements is
in
there.
our, it's code regulation, so any bylaw we had would never supersede a
No,
code regulation.
But it tells you per the code, you're supposed to get it surveyed if it's going to be within 5 feet of a boundary line. And
So,
that didn't happen
right, so regardless, it wasn't done
per
code,
basically.
or that's what you're alleging. I mean, I've got to look through
You can
this.
read it. Everything's there. Like I said, I brought the original plan I had for my father's piece when it was purchased.
Is that in here?
No, I don't have that. That's not there. I got a new survey was done. The pins are there. And if you'll see the back picture, the two pictures there, the day after it was surveyed, Mr. Thayer came back and scraped off what was basically over the boundary, over the line. We're supposed to be 5 feet back. So he scraped it. So now there's a problem where it could have breakout possibilities. And I've talked to a couple of people And breakout's really possible for it to break out now and be worse off than what it was. I'm not sure if he got a permit to do this, what he did. Because as it states in there, I went to Jill, the neighbor, spoke to her and let her know that I had it surveyed. And so.
But they were at the Board of Health meeting. I mean, I don't have time to
Yeah,
read
I
the,
understand.
I want to read it
Yep,
carefully,
yep, yep,
but,
yep. I get that.
Well, since we're in public forum, we can't respond.
Yeah.
I
But
understand.
if you
I'm-
want to get this on the agenda, that would be,
Well, I wanted to get it to you guys because so I'm trying to get you guys at a meeting and I don't know when they're going to have a meeting. I'm still waiting for a second meeting with the Board of Health, which has been going on since it's been surveyed for 2 months now, and they haven't had another meeting yet. Because at the end of that meeting, they told me, just work it out with Jill. It's like our hands are washed of it. And it's like, your hands, it's you guys are the ones that
but
are.
it is a property dispute, right?
No,
The
it's not a
town-
property dispute. The town signed off on this. The town should have never signed off on it. And one of the things that like I'm saying, that they need to know where the boundary line, you can't just,
Right.
where's the boundary line? Nobody knew where it really
Who
was.
Signed off on this, the Board of Health
The Board
or
of
the
Health
building
signed off on
inspector?
it. Board of
Okay,
Health.
and the Board of Health you do have a signature from them?
There's a signature on the
Okay,
paperwork here, yes.
they sign off on that's the
And
Title
they
V
inspect,
inspection?
and they inspect.
They
it through-
sign, they authorize the Title V inspection, which I am aware of that, and that's what they have signed. In the septic design.
Right.
Okay,
And then do they inspect it post installation?
They inspected a bunch of times throughout. So I mean, again, they, as part of the town of Hatfield, it should actually have something stating that, hey, if we're on a boundary line, nobody knows where it is. Somebody's got to raise their hand and say, you can't just go put something anywhere. It's like building a house and you're going to put it on a
Right.
boundary line. So somehow there's got to be something that, and again, that per the mass law there, it states if it's within 5 feet, it's supposed to be surveyed. And they went over, and it's like,
So it actually, so the septic system itself is on your property or?
the slope was down.
slope
and
goes
per-
down.
Per the mass state law, it's supposed to be the toe of the slope is supposed to be 5 feet away from the
Your
boundary line.
And about how far is it?
It was on it. So now we went back the next day after I got it surveyed. Jill called Richie. Richie came right over, scraped the dirt off of it. But now there's besides it, it's still not all the way to the ground where it should be. He scraped off some of it and to get the 5 feet, the majority of it 5 feet away, but it still is above
so wouldn't
ground
that be
level.
something Ms. Tucker has to take up with the excavator?
Well, again, I paid to have it surveyed because nobody knew where the line was. We had a good idea of where it was because there was one pin in the back. We could tell where the pin was. So I had measured over and then I went out there, as you'll read there, I went out there with a meter trying to find it. I couldn't find where the pin was in that back corner. So I said, all right, I'll just get it surveyed. I called the engineer, talked to the engineer, told him what was going on. And he says, well, my plan states that it's supposed to, 10, actually I think he had 10 feet because Mr. Kinnicky had told me that where the vent pipe was, that was supposed to be 10 feet from the line. But when we read into it further, because I called Boston too, it's supposed to be 5 feet from the toe it's supposed to be 5 feet away from the boundary line. And it wasn't. And nothing, again, it's just a matter of, it's $500 for the survey.
Right.
That should have been between the engineer, between the excavator and Thayer. And again, as far as I'm concerned, the Board of,
Sewer there?
no,
There's no sewer.
no, the Board of Health should have, there should be something in their guidelines, especially when you're in a 2-acre
Well,
spot.
if it's in the CMR guidelines, that's,
Mhm.
Correct.
that
That's what they're
overrides it.
signing.
We could have a million bylaws about this, but it doesn't matter because it's overridden
Correct.
by this.
Understood.
you
So
know,
that's
so-
where it states
Right.
that it should have been surveyed and that didn't happen. So who's supposed to ensure that it happens? It's not, it's not me. That's a butter. It's not, I would
Right.
think.
No.
It's got to be the guy excavating who's digging the hole and putting it there knows that where the boundary line is before he puts it in.
Okay.
Like I said, just
So
like building a
this,
house or anything
I've
else.
never had a matter like this come.
Mhm.
So I would like in there, like it states, I'd like you to bring it to the town attorney, town council and say, hey, so what are we going to do here now? Because we signed off and they probably shouldn't have signed off on it knowing where it is.
So
Not knowing where it is for that matter.
Well, I would recommend that we invite the Board of Health maybe to
Yeah.
our next meeting first before we consult with town.
Yeah,
council.
But
And I mean, I can tell you from previous work experience I've had, like, these things actually happen pretty frequently. People will actually put pools accidentally on neighbors' lawns
to
and things like that. And usually there's just some type of easement agreement or something that's worked out.
well, again, it was, if it was surveyed per the guidelines in the beginning, which was,
Right.
it was only $500. It's not like it's tons of money, so,
Right,
which is pretty reasonable. And I mentioned that to the engineer, and he said, "Look, that's peanuts." He says, for what, to have, figure out where it's gotta be.
right.
So that's, I'd like to get my money back that I paid to have to do, that I shouldn't have to pay, and they should have paid.
Right. So, all right,
Whether-
well, we'll start with the Board of Health.
And then,
That's-
yeah, and then if you need to get back in touch with me and.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay.
Mhm.
And again, I'm waiting. And there was some comments during the Board of Health meeting that I just let you hear that, my dad passed away 2 months prior to that. In the meeting, I think it was Mr. Kinnicky there, he made a comment, well, are you on the property? Is your name in the deed? And it's like, you're saying that to me here, whether I would go and complain, I don't care whose property it is if something was happening. Not only mine, if I saw him doing something where it was encroaching yours or anybody else's, I would bring it up to the board to tell them. That's not what to say. I mean,
Right.
it was pretty sad, let me tell you.
I mean, we definitely need to investigate this further, so
Mhm.
it's public forum, so I can't comment.
Right, and if there's any other information you need, I can get you whatever
Yeah,
you
no,
need, or whatever that, but
I'll-
everything, for the most part, should be there.
This is a lot, so I'll look
Yeah.
at it,
Yeah, I understand.
yeah.
I just wanted, like I
And
said, catch you
I
guys.
appreciate
because-
having that much information.
Because I'm still waiting to get back to the Board of Health, because everyone who said, well, we're done with it, and it's like, you can't be done with it, because it's your job to inspect it to what needs to be inspected to, and that didn't happen.
Right.
So,
Well, maybe we can ask them to come in to our August meeting.
Mhm.
Right, that's our next one.
August 13th.
August 13th. And so if in fact they're coming, Marlene, can you just make sure David knows? So we
Sure,
can get it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know when their next
I
meeting
mean,
is,
it's a
because they
lot-
haven't scheduled it yet for them, because,
Yeah, it's, and who knows? It's vacation time, people might,
Mhm.
not, but let's
Yeah.
hope they can come in. And on the 13th, and then we'll have had time to read this and look at it more closely.
Yeah.
And then figure out,
and she has these, like, they have the engineering drawing, and that's kind of even sketchy, because it says 10 feet from the
Who
boundary.
has it? Who has it?
In the board,
Oh, the Board of Health.
yeah, the Board of
office
Health has,
it.
I didn't bring, it's a big thing, but, that even states, 10 feet from the edge, but looking at that, it's like whenever kids drew it, it's not very clean.
Right.
But the 10 feet thing is clear that it should be there.
we will look into it further.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, there's no consent agenda items, correct?
No.
Okay, so our first matter of posted business is, we're joined by our town clerk, Elena. You're bringing forward a recommendation to reduce early voting hours for the state primary election.
Yeah, so historically, primaries are slow in town, especially a state primary. And the state allows us to reduce it, and with mail-in voting now, and you can still do in-person absentee, there's a lot of other options, and I just thought this is a way to cut back on,
So you would recommend going from, how many hours are normally or currently done, and what would you recommend going to?
Yeah, so usually on Saturdays, we've done like a full day, like a 9 to 5 o'clock, I think we did for the presidential primary. And we actually only got 14 voters for the presidential primary, which
Wow.
that was really not a lot. But we have to do, for the weekend, we have to do at least 4 hours, that says the state. So I was thinking like a 10 to 12 or,
Mhm.
10 to 2. For that. And then during the week, it's our my office regular business hours, but I can cut that to 25%, which is under 2 hours. You have to have a minimum of 2 hours. So I was thinking, just to make it easy, doing the same hours we were going to do on Saturday, and do 10 to 2 for 4 days. Yeah. Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday.
I mean, 'cause is there even any contested races on the ballot?
The only one on the Republican ballot is the I think that's one. Let's see, senator in Congress. That's the only one. The Democratic ballot, no contested. Libertarian, there's nobody on it. So, and we're mailing out over 500 vote by mail ballots already because the state, has been sending out postcards. So if you didn't sign up already, they send another round of postcards. So there's definitely a lot of other ways to vote.
Right, yeah, I mean, there's
Yeah,
there's a lot of options.
there's a lot of options.
I mean, of
don't-
course, we want to make sure that we're preserving the most options and the most opportunity for
Yeah.
people to vote, but I think even with those reduced hours, there's a lot of options, and then,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
The absentee, the mail-in.
Right.
And then I happen to love election day.
Yeah,
I always
and
vote on
yeah.
election day. I want to come to the polls.
Yep.
That's just me.
Yeah.
So what's
But-
your,
Should it reduce by 25%? You
So you
just
can
need us to approve it?
Yeah, you just have to vote to reduce the hours. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So it would be-
25%, but I'm
it would
actually
be
not
what you're
going that low.
proposing in your
Yeah.
letter, the
It's-
Saturday through Thursday, Monday to excluding Wednesday,
Yeah,
10 to 2.
yeah.
And we'll get this information up on the town website
Oh,
and
yeah.
out on social media so
Yep.
people know when it
Yep.
will
I
be.
have to, have to publish
Okay.
it multiple times. Yeah.
Because actually, it's coming up. It's at the end of August.
I know.
Yeah,
That's
it is coming up.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I mean, I think it's a fair recommendation. so
Yeah.
I'm fine with
I think it
that.
makes sense.
Yeah, I know, I was looking at it, I'm like, it's so slow.
I mean, if
for-
you were swamped, it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
But if you're,
I know, I looked back at all the presidential primary, which would be much busier than a state primary. And still, yeah, the numbers just they're not high.
Right now,
Yeah.
what does early voting cost us?
It really, I mean, I usually have at least, 2 people, 2 shifts each day, plus myself and my assistant usually helps. So yeah, I don't know the cost off the top of my head,
And that's for
but
14 people.
yeah, right. Yeah. I sit here all.
and they have plenty of other options. to
Right,
go.
I mean, I don't wanna,
It's not like we're shutting down
Right.
early voting. We're just,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. And there's a Saturday option. So for
There is a
people who
Sa-
can't come during working, regular working hours, they have
Right.
the Saturday option.
Yep. And if they're
Um,
out of town and they don't want to do the mail, they can come into the office and vote in person too. There's definitely other options.
So just for the sake of people at home, so the early voting hours would be Saturday, August 24th from 10 to 2, Monday, August 26th from 10 to 2, Tuesday, August 27th from 10 to 2, and Thursday, August 29th from 10 to 2.
Yeah.
So several options. I'm fine with that. Did you make a motion?
I'll make a motion to reduce the votings 25% as presented by our town clerk.
It's not quite reduced
Yeah,
that
just
much.
gonna say, yeah.
Yeah. So I
Just
think,
just her,
Yeah.
yeah,
move to do her recommended hours.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve it to her recommended hours.
Second.
A motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Elena, thanks. That was a thoughtful
Thank-
presentation.
thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
I'm using the wrong agenda here. Okay, so topic 2 is the Hampshire Public Health Shared Services Collaborative Intermunicipal Agreement for public health shared services.
And this is a renewal.
Right.
Hatfield has had a 3-year agreement with the city of Northampton and these other communities that participate, Amherst, Chester, Chesterfield, Cummington, East Hampton, Granby, Hadley, Hatfield, Huntington, Middlefield, Northampton, and Southampton, and Plainfield,
And this,
and Worthington.
just for the sake of people at home, this provides what type of services to the town?
So this is through a grant program, and it's Northampton's public health nurses, right?
Yes.
Their services and resources.
I mean, when we entered into this 3 years ago, times were much different. And that's when we were using their contact tracing and all of that, right?
Right, it was, yes, it
Oh my
was during
glory.
COVID. Yeah,
my
and as a
God.
result of COVID,
Yeah,
this
this
developed.
developed, but
Mhm.
it's all by a grant. It doesn't cost the town anything.
No, it doesn't.
I'm fine with that. Anybody have any questions?
Nope. All right,
Ed?
Good.
My understanding that this has worked out
Yeah.
well, so
Mhm.
I think
The
we
Board of
should
Health
continue
recommends it.
Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the Hampshire Public Health Shared Services Collaborative Intermunicipal agreement for public health shared services with the city of Northampton.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Topic 3 is the town administrator search.
And that is developing.
Developing, I know. I don't like thinking about it,
No.
but
At previous meetings, the select board did establish the search committee, how it would be made up.
Yep.
So we'll have a finance committee member representative, that will be Sean Berry, select board member, Mr. Jaworski, school superintendent Connor Driscoll, town moderator Bobby Betzold, treasurer collector Tammy Wendelowski, and all of those individuals have accepted
oh, very
the-
good.
the invitation to serve
We
on
just
the
got to add
search
2
committee.
more people, right?
So 2 at large, you have received 4 letters of interest,
So we have letters of interest from,
all very good applicants.
yes, all
by the
very good.
way.
Amy Hahn, David
Mhm.
Keir, Michael Cahill, and Anna Holhut.
Mm.
I appreciate all 4 of them submitting their letters. I guess my personal recommendation after thinking about this, I would recommend Dave Keir and I would recommend Anna Holhut. And those are my choices. I've worked with Dave Keir on committees and he is very organized, always shows up. Like he's just really, really great to work with on a committee. And I have also served on a committee with Anna Holhut and likewise, really, really great to work with. So those were the 2 that would be, that's just my 2 cents. I think that Amy Hahn and Michael Cahill are also excellent candidates, but that was sort of my thought process as I looked at those submissions. That's all.
I think it makes it harder when you have 4
Mm.
excellent candidates to pick from, and it's tough. But I know Anna has been very active in the community with celebration committee and other functions, and I think she'd be a great pick. And then I know David has been very active. He's been on the capital planning and he's been very proactive with the schools and a lot of other stuff. And I mean, Mike Cahill's done a lot for this town. He's been around and, you know, Amy has got great credentials. She was active
Mm.
with the historical commission.
Mhm.
So, I mean, 2 of any of these 4 to me would be a good
Yeah.
choice. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with what you're proposing. It's hard to pick.
I would also add that in Anna's role and really to some extent even in David's role, really firsthand human resource work in their professional lives. So
Good point.
involved with other searches, other hiring processes,
Mhm.
Overseeing employees and all of that. So I think those are attributes that are going to be really important to the search committee. People who have, sort of direct experience with hiring
Mhm.
and supervising and all of that. So did
I
you
mean,
have?
both of those
I-
2 picks have been very effective in working with groups too.
Oh, yeah. They're all just totally amazing choices.
Mm.
Yeah, I had looked at that and I had narrowed it down for myself between Anna Holhut and Mike Cahill
Yeah.
for all the same reasons.
I guess I would, Mike would be a
Yeah.
great choice. David's organizational skills and commitment to when he's on a committee. I mean, he keeps us on capital planning. Have you ever served on capital planning with him?
Yes.
I
He
mean,
keeps you
No,
to
wait a
task.
oh, it's
Keeps
a
it to-
tight ship that's being run.
No, I did not. And I did not. When I'm trying to remember, when I was in capital planning, it was Pashak, Spelsey.
Very thorough, does his homework sort of outside of,
Mm.
when we're talking with department heads, he'll,
Mm.
go and meet with them sometimes ahead of meetings and stuff. So
Mhm.
I can't argue with Michael being a good choice too.
I would
Yeah,
just
they're all
add
good.
that,
They're all so
Michael
good.
brings his financial background. You also have a finance committee member with
Right.
financial background on the
Right.
committee too. But
Right.
Mike Mike would be very good too, but just thought I'd mention
Yeah.
that.
Well, Anna gets unanimous approval. I'll make her feel good. All three of us had her on the list. She's wonderful to work with, very smart. So I don't know. I still would favor David, but I mean, what about you?
I mean, I do like, I'll go with Anna and Kier. I have no problem with that.
Are you okay with Dave?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make a
That's what we're
motion.
doing. Yep.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Anna Holhut and David Kier to the search committee.
All right. Excellent.
And,
Second.
oh yeah, a motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
Aye.
Aye.
I mean, all those in favor?
Aye.
I'm just getting all out of order, but yeah, it's too bad they couldn't all four be on there because they could
Really
all
is.
four
Really
contribute
is.
in really
pretty
effective
lucky.
ways. Yeah, that's really, how nice is it to have to decide? Because we're usually
Yeah.
looking for volunteers for things.
Yeah.
Okay, review charter, Marlene?
Actually, I thought it was included in the
Is
packet.
that the little flow chart thing?
No, I mean, that had just been added, actually you had seen that previously. The only
Yeah.
change I did make to that was I had modified the chart by, we had consultation with screening committee after review profile with select board. So we've advertised and, we're looking for recruitment. Now comes consultation with the screening committee. So my question is if the board would like to have the search committee invited to its August 13th meeting
Yeah.
to just go over the charter. So I am sorry, there should have been
The
from
charter or the chart?
no, there is a charter. There is a charter. The town clerk provided, actually, it might be in the signature folder.
Oh.
So there's an appointment form, and attached to that, if there isn't, I will certainly provide that at the August 13th meeting.
Okay.
But there is a charter from the previous town administrator search. So the
Okay.
town clerk included that
Okay.
charter. And it's really the role and
Oh, yeah, I
responsibilities
see
of
this
the
here.
committee.
Okay. I just signed, I'm the only person who needs to sign the shared
The
services.
shared-
thing.
okay. So I just a thought, or a suggestion, if the board would like to review that charter with the search committee, or they may be very comfortable just going ahead. I just thought that maybe you might like to give some instruction or direction.
And so they're just making a recommendation to the select board.
Yes, they would hold the preliminary interviews.
Okay. And the interviews will be open to the public?
Preliminary are not open to
Preliminary
the
are not, okay.
public. Those are held in executive session. The final interviews would be open to the public. So-
Executive session of the search committee?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's fine to ask them to come in,
Okay.
understanding it's vacation season and some
Mhm.
might not be able to be there, but it might be nice to touch base before they really get into the
Mhm.
heavy
Okay.
work. So do we have applications coming in?
We do.
Really?
There's probably 11 already.
Are you serious? That's great.
That's,
Okay.
yeah, surprising. I expected there would be, but actually they're still coming in.
Can I backtrack? Are we supposed to actually take an action on the other?
Oh, you did vote to appoint them, didn't you? Oh,
Well,
you
the first
named
ones,
the committee, the
we
two at
named them. Did
large.
we actually vote, Karen, to the Bobby Betzold and Sean Berry?
You haven't done that yet.
I don't think we did.
No, that really is the purpose of tonight's meeting, taking up the search committee. They need to be
Okay, so we did the
appointed.
two at-large ones, but we
You did.
skipped over doing, okay, so I'm going to need a motion to appoint Robert Betzold, Ed Jaworski, Sean Berry, Tammy Wendelowski, and Connor Driscoll. Why don't you go ahead and make that? since-
Okay.
Mhm.
I'll make the motion to appoint Finance Committee member Sean Berry, Select Board member Ed Jaworski, Superintendent Connor Driscoll, Town Moderator Bobby Betzold, Treasurer Collector Tammy Wendelowski, and our two at large to the search committee.
Okay, we already voted the two at-large, so it's
Okay.
just this part
Mhm.
of the committee.
Well, I'll second that, but I do want to make a note. It's not Edward, it's Edmund.
That's right. It is Edmund. So I can't, this has got to
Does
be
it say
fixed.
Edward on there?
This is
It
Ed.
does.
Oh,
that
hmm.
says
You're lucky it doesn't say Judja.
so.
Put that down, that's fine too.
Everybody would know who it is. So if she fixes this, I'll just sign it
Okay.
next time I'm in.
I mean,
okay?
technically, I can't vote for myself, right? So
Oh, that's true. So you should be abstaining
should
from,
abstain, I
Okay.
should actually step back,
So I'll
let them
second.
vote.
Really,
or-
for something like this?
there's
I
no,
don't think so.
there's no conflict,
There's
no
no
monetary,
conflict. Okay.
yeah.
I mean, we don't recuse ourselves when we do the appointing me to
Yeah.
capital planning, do we?
Right.
I mean, it's
No,
just,
he would just, yeah,
we're not giving you a contract.
he would not be voting to
Right.
appoint himself.
Right, okay, so I'll second that. So motion made and seconded. Any further discussion?
None.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right,
Congrats, Ed, you got another job.
that's okay.
All right, so yeah, if you could just have Elena fix that.
Mhm.
I'll sign that
Will do.
another time. All right.
Those positions, do they have to be sworn in?
Oh, I do have it. It's right here. I looked at the charter. Yeah. I don't know how I just flipped right through that.
Do they have to be sworn in, Marlene?
Yes, they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, okay.
So they will receive a notification.
Okay.
So they all have to be sworn in before we meet with the committee to make sure everything's
Absolutely.
official.
Mhm. I mean, between now and August 13th, they could have a meeting posted and just organize anyway, provided they're sworn in before they do that.
Yeah, so you'll send them all an email that they have to do that? Okay, well, we thank all of them for that. I'm excited to get started with that process. All right, so next item is the approving the Teamsters Union Local 404 Laborers Agreement, and this would be for the coming 3 years, so July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2027. This contract was negotiated by Greg with the union and the union members, the union steward,
Mhm.
department head. I appreciate the work you did on that. It took a little while, but
Yeah.
we got there. So, so unless anyone has any other discussion, I mean, we've talked about this a number of
Mhm.
times.
Mhm.
So
I want to thank Greg for the work you did on this.
You did well.
you did
Mhm.
your first contract, Greg,
Yeah. On
Exciting.
this side of the table, yeah.
on this side of the table, right? Okay, so I will take a motion on this.
I'll make a motion to approve the Teamsters Union Local 404 Laborers Agreement, July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2027.
Second,
A motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, Greg, thank you. Okay, Ed, you have to sign that. Okay, so we did not, from my conversation with Marlene, we discussed the resignation of Barry LeBay as Veteran Services Officer, which we were all very sad to hear. But we didn't officially take a vote to accept that. So that's just a little housekeeping. We have to actually make that vote.
well, make a motion to accept the resignation of Barry LeBay with regret as Veteran Service Officer.
A second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
And then along those same lines, we have here the Veteran Services Intermunicipal Agreement between Hatfield and, between the city of Northampton and a number of towns, Amherst, Chesterfield, Chester, Cummington, Hadley, Hatfield, Huntington, Pelham, Middlefield, Williamsburg, Goshen, and Worthington. And this is just to provide veteran services, veterans agent services to the residents of Hatfield, this is we're lucky we have this ability to enter into this so that our
absolutely.
veterans are
Very grateful. to
having
have
their
this.
benefits monitored and looked after and attended to. So,
This agreement is through June 30th next year.
yeah, it's a year-long agreement.
So motion was made and seconded.
Did we already make a motion?
I made a motion to accept the resignation.
Oh, no, we moved on to the contract, Ed,
Okay,
the Veteran Services contract with
Right.
Northampton.
okay, so we did.
Did I
we did
take a
approve.
vote?
I don't recall
Oh, I'm
approving.
sorry.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Sorry.
I just want to comment, if any honorably discharged veteran in Hatfield is interested in the veteran service position, to contact Town Hall or contact Marlene. So,
And I'm pretty sure, though, this agreement locks us in
Yeah,
for the full year.
for the year, but we would, a year goes by fast.
It does.
And
Oh,
we'll be-
absolutely.
it goes by fast,
Mhm,
so
mhm.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm ready to move into the
I'm sorry,
agreement.
Ed.
That's okay.
Thank you, Ed, for keeping me on my toes. I move too fast sometimes. Okay, so we have the agreement, which we've entered into this before intermittently as we've,
We have.
since we
Yeah.
lost Jerry Clark, we've had fits and starts here with our veteran service agents. So, does anyone want to make a motion
I'll
on
make a
this?
motion to approve the FY25 Veterans District contract with the City of Northampton.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This only requires my signature. Okay, moving along, Town Administrator Marlene, the Smith Academy Park Pavilion update.
So that project has closed out. All final submittals have been received by the town from Kiter Corporation. And I just like to state that I think in my many, many years of working in municipal government and working with a contractor, this is one of the best
Really?
contractors.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah,
Good.
absolutely. And the architect, Mark Sternick, was very good to work with.
It looks nice.
It does.
The concerts, every concert I have not been able to go to. We've had something
Yeah.
where I couldn't, which bums me out because, did the last one get canceled because of rain?
No, they had it last Friday.
Yeah, it was Friday.
Yeah.
We were gone.
Yep,
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the building or structure is illuminated at night, which is
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's really nice.
Looks
So I
great.
had a resident ask me what the final cost was on this version of it.
So this was $214,723. Yeah.
And that was under budget, right?
Actually, it came in under what we had estimated. It came in slightly under. I think we had estimated around 300,000.
Right,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's a big savings.
It is.
Yeah,
So our being persistent and trying to push it to get it done right, save the town
Yeah.
money.
well,
Yeah.
right, we kept putting it off.
Right,
Mhm.
because, the first bids were extremely high. We only had one bidder.
Well, and then it
And-
got the cake and
Yeah.
there was.
And
this is-
fortunately, we finally got a bidder that's from town
Yeah.
to do it, so that worked out nice.
Well,
I
that
mean,
is,
for many contractors, they look at that as a small project, that they're not really interested in. But yeah, Kiter did an excellent job on it.
that's really,
Oh.
really great to hear. So.
Well,
thank you
that's the
to-
saying, the better things in life take time, so there's a example.
Yeah, and we had periodic progress meetings with them, and those went very well. They're so organized.
That's really great to hear.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you to Kiter. And how nice that it's a town-based business.
Yes.
Okay, Marlene, Mass
Um,
Works quarterly report.
So we have closed out the fiscal year. I just submitted final reimbursement for the period April 1 through June 30th. The request for reimbursement is for $352,716.80. And so just to also let the board and the town people know, we have expended $1,097,455.76.
And we're moving slow.
We are. So I know just a few weeks ago, it was communicated to me that the project's behind by three weeks. It doesn't appear that they're, gaining too much momentum, and it's the dewatering that's taking a while, which,
But we will not be entertaining additional costs on this?
To the best of my knowledge, we have,
No, I mean, we
we're-
will not.
we will,
be
oh, right,
entertaining.
we will
Yeah,
not, yes.
okay.
No, I
We've-
understand completely.
Yeah, we've
And the
exhausted that.
engineer has been, notified that we anticipate closing out this project pretty much to substantial completion in October.
I mean, he expressed to me via email that we were also behind on the wiring in the pump station, but that was going to be done this week or the
Yes.
end of this month.
Yes, good point, because it had been previously reported
Right.
that it was going to be done in
When we did
earlier
the
July.
the monies, when we did the last monies, we had the contract sort of modified,
Mhm.
and that was supposed to have been done. And also we have a completion date in the modified contract. So now it's basically up to the contractor to meet that.
Mhm.
And if he's not getting it done on time, it's on him, not on us.
Right.
I drive through there every morning. I haven't seen any work at the pump station.
Good either.
So we'll see.
I'll follow up on that, and
We'll see if the end of the month he does it.
Someday there's going to be an agenda. And this is not going to be on it.
you can only hope.
Were you
right?
working, I don't know if you were here, Marlene, when I was on the board before and we did Bridge Street and it was the never ending.
Yes.
Were you here, Bridge Street?
Was that the Bridge and Core project?
It was all down Bridge Street. It was a big, big
Okay.
project. And it was years. We talked about it at every meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
It's hard to keep track of all those projects.
I know. Do you have anything else?
The comprehensive plan update,
Oh, yeah,
just
sorry, that is on
quickly.
there.
Hatfield 2040 comprehensive plan update. So the core team, which consists of planning board chair Stephanie Slige, Mickey Sanderson co-chair, and Sean Robinson co-chair, myself, and our consultant Patty Gambarini at Pioneer Valley Planning Commission. We have been reviewing the final documents, the action plan documents. And so, they have been instrumental in reviewing that. And so, I do appreciate their help, their assistance with that. So we are currently in the progress of submitting to the Executive Office of EEA our final report and request for reimbursement.
Oh, good.
So I'll have, that requested number for the board at the next meeting. But it did close out on June 30th. Now it's just executing all the deliverables, which is a lengthy process, very time consuming. I'm just happy that project has, it's hard to believe 2 years have
I
has
know.
gone by.
It went by fast
Yeah.
for those of
And
us
a
that didn't
very good
participate in it,
comprehensive
but
plan
I'm sure it
committee.
wasn't fast for you and.
Oh, yeah. We were meeting monthly, but, for the core team, we were meeting more than, not only with that, monthly meeting, but having conference calls other times during the month.
A lot of work.
The committee did a great job.
They did.
Mhm.
Yeah. Very good job. So at some point, will there be some type of presentation?
There will.
Okay.
So we're looking at September. August, the planning board anticipates seeing the draft action plan, which, they are supposed to receive the draft, and then they will present it to the select board.
Good.
Yeah.
I look forward to that. You
Mhm.
did.
Mm.
It's a lot of work. And also, I just wanted to backtrack a little bit. I know that reporting on the Mass Works has got to be a nightmare.
Actually, that's a little smoother than the MVP action grant
Really?
reporting. Yeah, that reporting is very time consuming and a lot of detail. PVPC, I know the consultant we've been working with, she's had to put some of her own time into it because it's a grand project.
Interesting.
And I don't, you don't realize until you're into it, what's involved and what the town is required to produce.
Yeah.
PVPC has been great to work with also and very supportive.
Yeah. Well, we're lucky we had Stephanie and
Mm-hmm.
Sean and Mickey, and who was the other one?
Sean Robinson, Mickey Sanderson, Stephanie, I think, yeah, because Stephanie and Sean were the two co-chairs. And of course, Stephanie's the planning board
Right.
chair.
Well,
So, and then Patty Gambarini from PVPC.
at some point, we'll have a chance to formally thank them, but
Yes, you will.
certainly want to recognize their hard work.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I just want to add that it's just, it's the management of the program and the grant and the in-kind services and invoicing, and it's just, you have to account for everybody's in-kind time.
Well, and it's
a lot.
but it brings up a good point is why I know I keep talking about this, but in the administrator search, that experience with grants is so important because I've had to report on state grants and
Yeah.
it is,
Yeah,
it's a lot of
It
work.
can eat up a lot of
it
time.
can eat up a lot of time.
And
that's right.
and at times, you know, closing out the project in year 1 and year 2, you're winding down your fiscal year at that time, but between January and May, you're developing a town meeting warrant and working with the finance committee and select board and trying to play the role of town administrator over, you know, with the project and managing that project. It's quite a bit of responsibility with that.
It's kind of interesting that a state grant would have a deadline like that. I mean, obviously it has to have a, fiscal year deadline. I mean, I get it, makes sense.
Yeah,
But it's a lot of things all bunched together. And
it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
good job on that.
thank you. Yeah, timing could have been better many times, but it's done. It's completed, and I think the board will be very happy with it.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait to see it. Do you have anything else?
Well, under old business, moving into old business.
Sure. We can move.
Okay, I mean, I did notice that the balcony is done. It's painted, the heat pump's in, so that's a good
One.
thing. Right, one heat
When heat
pump
pump
is
is
in.
in. There's
So
2 more to be installed.
my curiosity would be on the TV studio and
Mhm.
trying to see how we can move that along
That's
so
in
that it
progress.
gets done. So, you know me, I'm always pushing these
I
projects
know.
from
Mhm.
behind.
And that's okay.
And so do you have a projection of when we'd be moving upstairs? Yeah.
Yeah.
The tables are up there, the new tables. They're nice, the ones that John picked out. The chairs are up
Very
there.
nice.
So
Mhm.
it's an issue of some of the stuff, how it gets moved out of there.
Mhm.
I don't know if we now work with the Historical Society on setting something up to at least get that stuff out of there.
Yes.
And then you're still coordinating, John's still coordinating. I mean, we have an idea on the TV studio, the layout
Yeah.
and the break room,
Mhm.
right? I mean,
Mhm.
there's plans. It just has to be bid on or an estimate on or.
No, I just need to, tie up some loose ends with the contractor and see how soon he can start.
Okay.
There's still I think a little bit of electrical work to be done up there. But I want to touch base with the contractor because I want to check with him and see if there's any work that needs to be done before he actually
Right.
starts his work.
Do we have an idea if we're moving ahead with the other ARPA projects and getting those? Because, we're under a little bit of a time constraint
Correct.
with those. So there was okay.
And at the last meeting, the board wasn't ready to look at other projects that evening.
Well, we don't
So if
really
I
have
would-
any money left. There's a little bit of
There
money
is
left.
Some money.
But we wanted to wait because we need to see what may be left. And then we sort of had thought that it would go
Right.
towards some
Right.
fire department turnout gear, because that can be ordered so
Oh, and the
quickly.
other thing I was just doing recently with the accountant was looking at projects that were funded with ARPA.
But plus, we want to
money.
make sure that the upstairs gets completed.
There may be
Right,
And
extra
right.
things.
also,
Did you
what
have a
the cost
question?
would be to move the stuff back here.
Okay.
There's going to be a cost associated with bringing the stuff back here, right?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah, so that's going to be,
so that's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the moving of,
yeah.
yes, I've been communicating with the Historical Commission about that. I'm just waiting for them to get back to me because we'll need to arrange for a mover to relocate
Right,
the
'cause
items.
that's, I don't know what the cost was when we moved it over to Pechorix. I never saw anything on what the
Yeah, I don't
expense
remember
was.
what it was either.
Yeah, I could
And
look it
I
up,
would
but
assume they'd prefer to get things moved
Yeah, because
before
we
it's
had-
bad weather or anything
Oh,
like
yes,
that.
absolutely. We had items moved from the library annex and Benson's. So they're only, the mover will be picking up everything. It's going to still be the same number of items. But I understand that they have added to their collection.
And we don't want them moving this stuff back and shoving it into the wrong room and letting it sit there, because those rooms are going to be used for meetings and media center and TV. So
My
I just-
understanding, the balcony would be used for storage, but they would have some items on display
but
upstairs.
that comes afterward. I mean, I just don't want to see all these boxes sitting there and now we can't do
Right.
anything with the rest of
Mhm,
the media center or the TV studio or the break room.
mhm.
Yeah. So are we done with that discussion? Because I have one more thing. I just want to make sure we're on track to be ready to have a special town meeting for the culvert.
Oh, so I am working on fitting that in, working on the bid specifications to get that out to bid. So yes, we should be able to have a special town meeting.
And that's
but I do
September
wanna get that
10th,
out
right?
to
We
bid.
talked about having that on September 10th.
We did talk about September, and yeah, off the top of my head, I'm like,
I
did
think we
set a
decided it kind of
date?
had to be the 10th.
Yeah, I think there was a reason.
I just want to mark my calendar.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so culvert. And the last item I want to bring up is when Phil comes back, we'd like to get an update on the water treatment plant project because I see activity out there.
Oh, yes.
And also there was 3 grants that we signed for. Has there been any
3
action on?
grants?
Yes, the drain water, the sewer
Study
water.
ones, those,
Oh,
the,
that's separate from the wastewater treatment plant.
Right.
That's with the state revolving fund, DEP.
right,
So that's the stormwater, the drinking water,
And drinking water.
right,
So asset plans,
right.
Yeah.
Asset
mean-
management
management
plans.
plans.
So I guess.
Correct.
it is-
So that's separate from the wastewater. So the supplemental appropriation of the 1.4 million that was authorized at town meeting, I've been working yesterday and today on the loan application. So USDA moved that deadline up to today. So we were thinking it was going to be in October, and they moved it up to today. So I have completed as much as I can. It's all done electronically. And so certainly with the help of the treasurer for financing, and Eric Meals has been tremendous. Entering data and just collecting information to submit. However, there are certain areas of the loan application, and it's extensive. I'm sort of locked out. You're supposed to enter data, and so those are coming up as errors, but it won't allow me to enter. So I have reached out to the representative at USDA. There's just 2 areas that are holding that application back. So I hope they'll still accept it tomorrow. But the intent was to submit it today.
Why would they move it up?
I don't know.
How much notice did they give you?
I received a notice, I think it was early last week. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So I've been trying to piece
Oh my
it
God,
together,
yeah.
but then the last 2 days, today, I have just been locked in on that all day.
Oh my God. Well, thanks for doing that.
You're welcome. Like I said, Eric Meals and Justin Skelly and Dave Prickett at DPC Consulting have been very helpful too. Some of the information from the previous original application we're able to use, but of course they're looking for current usage, volume, flow, the budget, revenues,
Wow.
yeah, all our debt information.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for staying on top of that.
Yeah.
I mean, and finding out that the deadline was today.
Yes.
That came as a shock.
I was like, what?
That's insane.
Yeah, and of course, the timing again, because you have people on taking vacation time that you need to contact to get information from. So yeah, you're waiting for them to return from vacation. So,
Okay, I don't have anything, I don't think we did any announcements. I didn't have any, but I just realized. Did you have any announcements?
No, I have no announcements.
Okay,
No.
good thing, because I skipped right over it. Okay, well, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, John. That vote I got.